Hi, this is Bobby Curnow, Chief Turtle Editor at IDW Publishing, and you are going to have a shell of a good time inside the pull bag.
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1 Mike and the rest of the comic reading crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, IDW, Boom Studios, Zenoscope, and more, we have everything you want to read right here. Transformers comics? Yeah, we cover that. He-Man? Yeah, sure. DC superheroes like Batman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Batman Beyond? Yep, we have those too. How about TMNT from IDW and I Hate Fairyland from Image Comics? Yeah, we have all that here. Plus, so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So without any further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we are reading right now here inside the pull bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. This is episode 325. That's right, folks, 325. I am, of course, TFG1 Mike, and it has been almost 11 months to the day. Well, it has been 11 months. It's almost been a year to the day. September 27th, 2017 is the last time you heard myself and Mr. Joe Reed. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, the last time you heard us talk TMNT from IDW. A whole year without TMNT comics, folks, from IDW, and IDW sure has come a long way in a year with their TMNT main ongoing, with the TMNT universe, with Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road. There's a whole bunch of TMNT IDW stuff coming and going and doing and whatever. But it has been a whole year since we did at the time it was episode 154.5, but seeing as how we now have better math and we're over 300 now, it's a whole thing, and meth is not my strong suit.
Did you say meth is not your... I hope not.
Yes, well, I call meth at times, because math is just as bad as meth to me. So, TMNT, issues 73 to 75, the Trial of Krang is what is on tap tonight. Before we get too far into it, what the heck have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in a year.
Well, one of the reasons you haven't talked to me is that none of my other friends have talked to me either very much because wow. I got involved with my new job. I moved... I mean, this was a long time ago that they put me at the new position. I'm now teaching trade school, construction, design type stuff, and we are very involved with the industry in the area, and we have industry partners and meetings, and it consumes my brain space. I get home not spending that much more time at work than I used to, but I was like, I'm done thinking, I'm done reading. Like, to be honest, I don't think I've read a Ninja Turtle comic since we last recorded. I've been buying them, and I will always buy them. I'm never going to not buy Ninja Turtle comics, and I'll read them eventually. But my golly, I'm so behind. I have a big old stack. But I think this rereading these issues for this podcast is kind of like, yeah, I do enjoy that book, and I need to finish those. So they're stacked up. They're put in order. I think I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, at some point after this episode and between the end of this year, we will get to... We have this episode, which is Trial of Krang, issue 73 to 75. The next one we'll get to is episode 334 of the show, which will do TMNT Ghostbusters 2. And then the next one would be supposedly episode 337, depending. Yes, 337 in a row. TMNT 76 to 80, The Invasion of the Triceratons. So maybe we'll get those two episodes out before the end of the year. I don't know. It just depends on timing and everything else. Because we just got off of Autobotly August. It was basically 2 episodes a week for 5 weeks. Basically, it's 10 podcasts in 1 month.
I wish I were reading that book. The backstory got so crazy I had to let it go. But, if they're rebooting the universe, if they're starting over with an unconnected thing, maybe I'll jump back on. I keep wanting to.
There are several things I can point to you after this show tonight that you can read without having to read every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that. But yeah, like I said, Volume 19, the Invasion of the Triceratons, I bought that. I wasn't not going to buy... I wasn't going to buy issue 76 to 80 digitally. The trade is out for Invasion of the Triceratons, so I'm like, okay, I'll go to Comixology. I'll just buy the trade. It's roughly around the same price as buying them singly at this point. And then, as of this recording, I got the weekly email that I get about upcoming releases for IDW. Let's see. The review, preview, and cover files for IDW's September 5th releases are now ready. So we've got TMNT Ongoing Trade Paperback Volume 20, Kingdom of Rats. So they're now up to 20 volumes of the main ongoing series in trade paperback.
That is awesome, and as we sit here about to record this episode, I'm looking over at issue 73, which says across the top, now the longest-running TMNT comic ever, because they got further than issue 72, which was the Archie run, and they're here now. And, you know, like you were saying, this whole year they've been just knocking it out of the park with all the side books. And they're going strong. There is no sign of this ending or them needing to end the story. There's plenty of places to go. So let them go.
So I mentioned, I believe, I don't know if TMNT Universe is I think it's still going on.
I heard it was over, the Universe story. They're replacing it with other things.
Yes, they probably are. I know Universe was still going. I know that TMNT Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road is either... Actually, it's out. All of it's out. All 5 issues. Because it was It was August, yeah. It was all last month that TMNT Bebop and Rocksteady Hit the Road. It was one of those 5-week months where they were like, hey, we'll put a Bebop and Rocksteady book out every month or every week. They're now doing this thing called TMNT Urban Legends. I don't know if that's replacing Universe, but I know that's another one that they're doing. So... As I said earlier, TMNT 73 to 75, The Trial of Krang, and as you just said, now the longest running TMNT comic ever. This is awesome. This is amazing to me. Like, I've said...
It's more amazing to me that Eastman and Laird didn't do this, and I don't. They both of them have just different perspective on what comics, of the pace at which comics come out. You know, they got busy with this stuff, but when Laird was doing Volume 4, there was a point where he's like, you know, I'm not really interested in story arcs. I don't want to have to create these things, and I'll get a book out when I get a book out. They're doing it for fun. They're doing it for the right reasons, and these guys, I mean, I think it's just the editorial staff at IDW that are like, you know, they do carry the traditional pacing of a comic book. And so you pair both the love of all of the people involved with the editorial prowess and the marketing prowess of IDW, and you have this thing that's full of heart that is just steamrolling through the numbers. I mean, how many books are there nowadays from DC or Marvel that make it to a legitimate 73, that don't have some goofy reboot where they start renumbering it but then they go back to the old numbering, but it's really just, it's different. This is one giant story.
Yep.
And it's amazing.
Yep. They also have, I think they're coming out monthly. Remember way back when we did the micro series?
Yep.
They're now doing at least 4 macro series issues of the 4 Turtles.
Yes.
Donnie's release was first. I think it goes Donnie, Mikey, Leo, and then Raph. The only reason why I know Raph is last is because artist extraordinaire Ben Bishop, who I'm friends with on Facebook, posted a teaser of his Raphael cover earlier at the point of recording this podcast. Yeah, I felt so like I had to go back and look at some other things because I bought so these 3 issues I bought singly as they came out, thinking, oh, we'll get to it. Well, between September 2017, when we released that, because we actually released 154, which was Dimension X, and then 154.5, which was the Usagi Yojimbo one-shot thing.
Oh, yeah.
So between September and now, September last year and September this year, let's see, I've moved to Chicago. I've gotten married. I've bought a house. I've done this. I've been a little busy. Yes, I've had the pullback going, good with content and everything else, but it's not as often as it normally is, and scheduling and all that. So, Trial of Krang. The creative team, obviously, on this, for those that don't know, Kevin Eastman, Bobby Curnow, Tom Waltz on story. Tom Waltz does the script. Corey Smith is on art. Rhonda Pattison is on colors. Sean Lee on letters. Editing is done by Bobby. And at the time, the publisher was Ted Adams.
Oh, yeah.
IDW has had some hierarchy changes since these 3 issues have come out. So, all right. We start on Planet Neutrino with with Krang basically just going off against it. Basically throwing a hissy fit at his lawyer. I love the design on Krang here.
Yeah, he looks so good, and with all of this dialogue there, with Krang speaking, I hear the 1987 version of Krang. I think every I hear that. Doesn't matter which Krang it is. I hear that voice, and I can hear it come out in this, but it just doesn't sound right, or doesn't feel right, or maybe that's not what I mean. It's not uncomfortable. It just feels fun to hear this natural dialogue come out in that voice in my imagination. All this lawyerly stuff, and indignant victimhood, it's real people dialogue coming out in that voice that never said anything.
Exactly.
Like that. So it was kind of neat.
Shocking! Don't! There's no telling what might come through that porthole!
So, for those that don't know or don't remember, this issue takes place right before the Dimension X 5-issue miniseries, because he is currently giving Hack R the information about the witnesses.
Yeah, he's locked up in his cell talking to his lawyer. When the lawyer leaves, Hacker's up in the ventilation. He's distracted the guards or reprogrammed their screens, so he's coming there, and Krang gives him the instructions to go send the Turtles off on their 4 or 5 issue miniseries that we already covered, where they're going to get the witnesses against him for this upcoming trial.
And then we go to the Turtles and the Fugitoid, and they're waiting on their neutrino escort. What are you thinking here with them obviously jaunting to Dimension X? What's your favorite part of this portion here with them?
Well, you get the housekeeping that they're doing, setting up April with all the security passwords, blah de blah. But in this section where we're on Earth, and the neutrinos are coming to collect them, I was reminded at how well they've managed to bring the neutrinos into this much more serious universe. And of course, it happens with all of the different characters. That it's like this is the way we would want those characters modernized, or not modernized, but grown up a bit, or made into something for an adult audience. This doesn't usually happen when they do that to other characters. When they bring them modern, they decide to go the other direction. These hot rotten teenagers from Dimension X, we're gonna do it, blah blah blah, Red Daddy-o. Like they don't do that here, because you and I would not be palatable to us.
Well,
but,
okay.
I think Waltz does a good job. They're mercenaries. They do kind of have that love of the 50s thing that was all about, but the beatnik stuff, wasn't it? So I enjoy it. I enjoy how they brought them over.
I will say that is it Dask or Dax or whatever his name is, the purple haired general dude here that comes over to meet them, their escort.
Dask, yeah.
Okay, so I will say that he doesn't do it, but Zach does. Kala and Dask don't. I know Zach says Daddy-o at one point, or another.
Way chill, man.
Mm-hmm. And I'm fine with one of the three neutrinos that we've always known being that vocal character that we remember. I'm glad all three of them don't do it. I think that's super cool. I love the part in this where Raph is talking to Pepperoni and, you know, leaving your pet at home and this, that, and the other thing. And we get to a point where they all, you know, walk out and you see them walking through the portal and Pepperoni's in shadow behind them. Good. Next stop, Samada City. Portal closes. You have... Because clearly, if you've never read this comic series, folks, first of all, what the hell's wrong with you? Stop this podcast, go back to issue 1 and start. But second of all, anytime any of the turtles have a caption, or not a what the hell am I trying to say here? A thought bubble or whatever, where they're not actually speaking, it'll be their color of their bandana. So the portal closes, Pepperoni's still sitting there, and Raph has already told her, absolutely no swimming. Well, his thought bubble, as he's already gone, she's diving in with her tongue hanging out of her mouth and says, talk about diving right in.
And that's this is a neat thing that they've done in this series, I think, since the beginning, are these cute little segues like that. Either the dialogue will trail over on this page, or it'll be on the next page, and it'll somehow tie into the content of the next scene.
Yep.
Like that can't exactly be easy to plan, but it's something that Tom Waltz has consistently done throughout the entire series.
Absolutely. I mean, you know.
And I'm sure it happens in other books, but it really stands out in these. You notice it, and it's funny.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're like us and you've read all of the TMNT stuff that IDW has ever put out in the last 6 years or 7 years or however long they've been doing it, since 2012 or whatever it is, you'll know that after Raph got Pepperoni as a pet, I mean, okay, sure, it's a turtle and it's a miniature pet dinosaur thing or whatever she is. It's basically a human and a cat, or a human and a dog, and if you tell your pet not to do something, what the hell is the pet going to do? Of course they're going to go dive right in. I mean, come on. It's just like, you know, telling your kids not to do something. Of course they're going to actually do it. You know. So they get to Planet Neutrino, and Leatherhead. Uh-oh.
So the turtles flip out. Last time they saw them, he was up to no good with them and escaped into the night. But here he is. He's back.
Yep. And we meet Zach and Kala. And they talk about, you know, Mikey asked Kala what happened to you guys, and Leatherhead happened, and let's just say his cooperation was sorely lacking when we delivered the court summons to him, kind of a thing. Yeah, I love that they... and of course, we knew they were not gonna have the neutrinos here, like Planet Neutrino and all that, and not have these three characters. That's what is so great about this series, and we've said it plenty of times before. They throw in everything from every aspect, every era of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is in this comic series, whether it's the ongoing, whether it's a micro, macro, whether it's a mini series, it doesn't matter. And I'm so glad that the main three neutrinos that we all know from 31 years ago.
Holy crap, I'm old.
So am I, you know. So yeah, Leatherhead is here. It's telling this the tale of things that are going on. They end up going to the palace, and it's not strange to me, but it's, I don't know. Mikey having a crush on the princess. I thought Mikey would have a crush on Kala. More than the princess.
A little more in common there.
Yeah. But, so basically the Turtles get their Star Wars moment here.
And they make a joke about, I'm Han, and you're Luke, and who am I? Chewie. Oh, I guess you're screwed. Yeah, you don't get a medal.
Yep. Let's see. So we go to the King and Queen, and they're talking about the whole, the return of the Turtles and their hour of need, and this is where we get the first attack from the Swarm, from the Maligna character.
Yeah, now are these insects? I can't remember if they're coming from something else. I don't remember in my Mirage reading if they were there. And is this related to? Is it Drax? I think there was some weird late '87 version of the Turtles, that last season that got darker. When Batman Animated Series came out, and Turtles were like, "Oh no, we need to throw darker," and they had a bug villain, and I don't know if this guy or this is that, or if it's something different. But
I have no clue.
Meh, we'll figure it out someday.
Yeah, one of these days somebody will tell us. So we have this, this meeting of the minds on how this is all going to be handled. We have this delegate here that Hackar kills. So Counselor APAP or APAP, I assume it's APAP, but I don't know. And Mikey sees that it's Hackar, and Raph rips it out and all that, and he lost him, but Leatherhead, didn't lose him, and we have this whole thing, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Slivery," and Hackar basically, sprays Leatherhead's eyes, and I love the art here. Corey Smith and Rhonda are doing amazing. Hackar looks great. Kala and Dax, or not Dax, Kala and Zach come in. Commander, what's going on? We have this big giant fight thing, and Hackar escapes, and the counselor is dead though, and
I wonder who could be killing everybody of importance in this trial.
Exactly. So the issue ends with them blasting off into space.
To have their 4-issue miniseries where they're gathering the witnesses.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, issue 73, I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool how we see how they get to Planet Neutrino and all of that, and seeing their friends again, and seeing Leatherhead, and Leatherhead with the way his violence was in that first part of this with Hackar. I'm like, oh boy, that's gonna come back to bite him in the butt.
I like this version of Leatherhead, I guess I should say. We're talking about the old cartoon. In the old cartoon, we had that version of Leatherhead, which I'm sure somebody out there probably would say is racist now. The Southern Creole accent thing from the cartoon. So it's but this is of course a take on the Mirage version of him, where he was smart. Almost Donnie level smart, scientific, but he had that alligator nature where he could just snap, and like the 2012 cartoon. I mean, he has these moments in here where he's just utterly ruthless. He beat up the two neutrinos who came to give him a court summons, but he finds out he's being tracked, and what does he do? He bites his own flesh out to chew the tracker out of his body that was installed. I'm like, wow, this guy's nuts. I'd also like to mention on the last page here, we actually have the hot rod that the neutrinos.
Oh yeah,
we finally get to see that. Yeah, they do have that cool car with the big 50s fins on it. Only it's a spaceship, and So that was neat. Of course, paying homage to the old show.
Absolutely.
And that flying foot cruiser toy that we all know was actually the Neutrinos car.
Yep. That flying foot cruiser was awesome.
I loved that thing. It was cool.
Yep. Absolutely. Getting into part 2 of the Trial of Krang, we start off in space with Zach and Kala with the turtles doing their part, protecting the witnesses. I just love that Ace is here.
Yeah, I hope he gets something at some point. I almost think he could kind of carry his own comic. He's kind of got that Han Solo swagger, but it's actually backed up with a bunch of skill. I think it might be fun. Give me a little miniseries. Give me at least a standalone issue at some point.
Something, yep. So they're about to take action, and Ace is in the Skyborn baby and about ready to kill all these bugs. And like you said earlier, where did this thing come from? Where did these did they, obviously they must be from some part of the Turtles thing, or are they just something that they're introducing? Who knows? I don't know. The sad thing is, this reminds me of Starship Troopers, except it's Starship Troopers out in space, not on a planet. Oh, God.
I never made that connection, that was, they didn't spend a lot of time in starships, did they?
No. Not really, no. So, we have the Triceratons, they're entering. Their main goal here for helping the Neutrinos is they want their own planet. Because theirs got destroyed or something or other.
Yeah, a long time ago, Krang came. Well, they've always been subjugated. They were mutated Earth Triceratopses that they said, all right, now the Utra, you're our army now. And so it's kind of a B plot through all of this, and I think you might have not going to give away the ending of that particular arc yet, but you can tell in the dialogue that they have ulterior motives here. They know that the Utram Empire is gone, and that they're still fighting for other people, and they don't like that, and they're complaining about that. But they like to fight, so they're not actively revolting yet. But they make a deal later that sets some stuff up.
Oh yeah. Most definitely, especially the way 75 ends. I'm like, oh no, they didn't, but they did. So the Turtles and the Neutrinos come home with the witnesses, and Commander Dask or Dax or whatever is, I have to see his name again to figure out how to pronounce the stupid thing. He's like, advance, and everybody's like, oh no, they're going to, I'm scared, and they're like, nobody has to worry. Zach is like, nobody has to worry. They're not here to attack. Check it out. Platoon, initiate shield formation. So they're there to protect the witnesses. Obviously, that's not going to stop Hakkar.
Yeah.
So.
He's too good for that. But he's smart enough not to attack at that moment.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We go back to Honeycutt, the princess, and the turtles, and they're talking about the trial and the Utram threat, and how the Triceratons are fierce warriors and whatever, and they're on their side for now. And we get Zom basically saying, this is what I want.
Yeah.
We want our own planet. We want to, have our own civilization again. We have a nice little thing of Professor Honeycutt and Donnie back and forth, which is cool because they're on TV and all that.
Yeah, those two end up being the lawyers for since the counselor got murdered, they had to replace the prosecution, and Fugitoid ends up taking that place, and Donnie is on the side of that.
Yeah.
So that's where he's been promoted, I guess, from scientist to lawyer.
There you We have the giant judge dude who, well, obviously is going to end up dead at some point, sadly. We have the testimony of the little people here, the little orange multicolored dude. And we have, after him, we have, what is it, Akmemnon or whatever? No, Anamon from Akbono. And he can't actually testify because he signed a contract that said something about
he can't testify.
He can't testify. So that is null and void. Oh boy. Krang thinks he's winning, sadly.
Well, each of the witnesses that gets called, there's weird, they don't actually help.
No.
And maybe that other prosecutor had a better strategy or a different strategy than what Fugitoid has tried to employ, but none of these witnesses are helping very much. Yes, he's signed a contract. Stump starts to testify, and there's business dealings that, like, no, we actually had a deal to do that thing. You didn't know that? And, well, no, no. But then they call Leatherhead as a witness.
Yep, and that does not go well.
Well, it starts to not go well. I think until, because at that moment, then Planet Neutrino is under attack from the bug critters are back.
Mm-hmm. And then we get to Judge Gorath's chambers, and Hakkar is there, and he assassinates the judge, and that's how this one ends. Wow, I was not expecting this to go where it's going. Like, I don't know what I was expecting out of this, but having to fit a whole trial and everything else into 3 issues and whatever, they're doing a damn fine job of this.
My only issue with this issue is that it's like it's a legal drama. And because they only have so much space, they kind of have to ham-fist it together, put it together, and they knock it up and they knock it down. They set it up and they knock it down. And I like my books more dialogue-y than action-y. I don't honestly think action plays that well in comic books. I like my character pieces more, but this issue with all of its dialogue is less character-driven than what I like my books. So I love you guys, but it reads boring. I've had comic books, maybe not the place for giant action scenes, maybe also not the place for political legal drama, maybe not.
Well, I don't know, I think it works. I mean, they did the Marvel a number of years ago, because we covered it on the pull bag. They did a 2-issue miniseries of Trial of the Punisher, and they called that Trial of the Century as well. So, I mean, I think this works, and we hadn't really... I remember the last arc we did beyond Dimension X, before Dimension X, was the Rat King family arc, was the whole Pantheon arc, 71 and 72. So, before that it was not Street Phantoms, 67 to 70 was Desperate Measures or something. I think the last time we saw Krang was when he was terraforming Earth, which is way back in issues
the 50s?
40 to it was like 40 to 44 or something. Yeah, something like that. So we open the final chapter of Trial of Krang, issue 75. 75 issues, yay! Only 25 to 100.
And man, that's not that long. That's only a year from now. 2 years, a year ago.
Yep.
And I don't know if do you have the physical or digital? Because my physical,
I have digital.
It's square bound. It's a thick book. This one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because it I remember it's a double issue.
And
that's
it's
why.
Very, very nice. I love it's a not a fold out cover, but you open. And it's a one giant beautiful image front and back by Corey Smith.
Yep, very cool, very cool. Alright, so let's see here. I forgot to do this on 74, but Eastman, Kurnow, and Waltz on story, Tom on script. Art by Corey Smith and Mateus Santaluco, along with Chris Johnson and Damian Cicero, with colors by Rhonda, letters by Sean, and edits by Bobby. What I find interesting about this issue is they do not list the publisher, so I'm not sure why that...
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. So we open up with the hive, or the stink bugs, or whatever these bugs are called, the swarm, and they swarm. The Triceratons are there to combat them, though, along with the turtles, Ace Duck, Kala, and Zach, and all of that.
I'm sorry, I started to flip ahead because with 3 artists on the book, I expected 4 artists on the book. I expected to notice, because I didn't, just reading this, and I flipped through it now, and I still don't really notice. There's just some panels where I think, wait, did Santaluco do that? No, I mean, maybe, but it looks like everything else. So they must have really worked together.
There are 4 artists on here. Which I read through this, and normally when there are multiple artists, Transformers from IDW has done this several times. It'll say, this artist's name here does pages 7 and 8. This artist does pages 11 to 16.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that here, and honestly, reading through this, I did not notice that big of a difference between the artists. I'm sure there is, obviously. They're all individual people. They all have their own design, way of doing the characters and everything else, but this read so fluidly for me that it did not matter.
Well, I'm looking at a page now where it definitely looks with like some Santaluco hatching, but the character designs are all they're all Corey Smith. It looks like they were trading pages on and off, and I do this character here, I'll do that character there, and then everybody else does the background. So that's a really neat job, and a really neat way, I think, to handle a book that has a deadline and it's going to be twice as big as a usual book. So, kudos to you guys, because I mean, I think you're especially sensitive to when they change artists.
I am, normally, yes.
And that one snuck up on me.
Like, if Santaluco has a 3-issue arc, great. If Corey has a 2-issue arc, if Dave Wachter or if Dan Duncan ever comes back, kind of a thing. Like, I don't mind if a single artist and colorist have like a run on the series. Like, like I said, the Street Phantoms arc, that's just one part of the story of the overall ongoing. The Leatherhead arc, 56 to 58, that was Santaluco, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I don't mind. But if it's in one book and it's consistently changing, oh god, it drives me nuts normally. But this is done so well. Like, very rarely had I noticed in 75 how much, if at all, the artists have changed. Which is a good thing that they're melding everything together.
Indeed.
As we get through this giant, massive thing, we've got the swarm fight, we've got the witnesses, and so basically what's happened here with the swarm fight, it's Ace Duck, Kala, and Zach, along with Raph, Mikey, and Leo fighting the swarm. And Donnie is with the witnesses and Fugitoid, because that's where I guess he needs to be for now. The little colored ball dude ends up saying, "Danger, danger!" and there's an explosion. Hakkar comes in. And, he's going to basically do his job. And what I love here is how he explains more to us, the reader, than the characters in the book. First rule of an ambush: take out the big guns.
So Leatherhead is dispatched.
Yep, and the symbiotic eye for 2 whenever you can. and a symbiotic eye or two whenever you can. So he takes out Aimu. Donnie tries to attack him, but he uses some of the other, things against Donnie, and Honeycutt gets in there. This didn't go well for Professor Honeycutt. And then the tree, the stump gets in there. The only one that can actually mount any kind of offense against Hakkar is the little plant girl who sprays her venom
spores,
pollen spores, whatever. Hate plague, I don't know.
Hate plague, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. We get back to the bug battle with the turtles. I think the coolest thing, I would love to know which artist did this. One of the bugs takes Leo out. And we get to a panel, and I'll screenshot it and put it in the post, where Mikey and Raph are open mouth screaming with their little space suits on, and they both say Leo! Exclamation point. It looks so freaking cool. It really does. Just having them on the panel, worried about their brother. So absolutely love that. So fun. Even though it's in a moment of, oh my god, what's happening. So they all end up getting captured. No, they don't end up getting captured. They beat Leatherhead or whatever. Not Leatherhead.
The bug critter.
The bug critter, yeah. They go back to the hallway and everything else, and they find the judge.
Yeah, we're back in a different scene now with Donnie and the witnesses, and they're because of the explosion. I think they've left that room and have found the judge dead. Hacker's there to clean up his mess, but I thought they had him knocked out, but they
thought they did too.
Yeah, something's goofy because they mention how her spores were the only thing that stopped him in that moment. But then those two groups come together. Leo was dispatched earlier, but comes down and lands in the judge's quarters where he's dead, and he's smashing a bug. Mike. Raph and Mike come down, and now they're all back together again, and they handle him. They handle Hacker.
Yeah. Yes, they do. And this gives Donnie an idea with Polly's pollen and all of that and whatever. So he talks to Stump, and we need to talk, and we see that they're talking, but we don't. There's no speech bubble. There's no nothing of what Donnie's actually saying to him. But you get the next panel where Stump's like, "What?" Okay, fine. Of all the idiotic, lame brain ideas.
And we're set up to realize that Stump is going to make a deal with Hacker.
Mm-hmm. We go back to the Swarm, and Hakkar gets in there and uploads this virus thing. Just a little ventilation upgrade. Intruder! Okay, whoever did the design on the Queen Swarm insect lady, normally I don't like insect things of any type, but the very first page that I saw her, or him, or whatever it's supposed to be, where she's like, Swarm, and now we get to this where it's like, Intruder. I love the design on this bug.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, I'm not a bug guy at all. But it was super cool seeing that. So, we have the virus thing, burning them up, and basically they retreat.
They'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
On that page where the poison ejects and all the little critters it burns, and then the Brood Queen starts to do this. So there's the panel with her mouth open with all the teeth, and I'm getting a real Violator from the Spawn kind of vibe from that, but it's cool. It's cool. That's where I would definitely see some Santiluoco input there.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So we get back to the turtles and them, and it says that they say it worked, and
all of the ships are retreating. The Triceratons report the ships are retreating, and hey, they're all back in the jury room again.
Yep, and then we get to the actual trial itself. And this does and does not go well, I guess you could say. I know this is probably issue 80, 81, 82. We're in the 80s as far as current releases for Turtles, so this issue has been out for a long time at this point. I was not expecting the trial to go the way it went. And I don't necessarily mean the judgment either.
No.
That's not a way to get justice. I'm sorry.
So how far do you, well the judge who ended up murdered gets replaced by the king, who's already got it out for Krang, but they finish their the questioning with Leatherhead, who goes on about his slave. What does he call it? Well, was made a prisoner of Krang and tortured, and it was all Krang. Like this time, it wasn't conjecture. It wasn't third party observation. He was tortured. Krang was literally torturing Leatherhead and using him to be his tool, and so that questioning goes better. But then in the closing arguments, now this is where the fun part here is that it's going from great, we hit him hard, to then the closing arguments, which flips it both ways. Krang's not guilty of anything except of saving his people, and he committed genocide to do that. Well, King Zender just annihilated a bunch of brood people. So what makes him any different? Which turns it the other way again. But at the end of the day, what Krang did was definitely wrong, and he is found guilty.
Yep. He is most definitely found guilty, and he only gets a life sentence in prison. Let's see here.
I think he gets. Is it? Do they call it?
No, it says, I have consulted with an advisor, Mariel of Planet Earth's Burnout Island. She has agreed, in the interest of putting all animosities between our people behind us, to hold the defendant, General Krang, forthwith as an exile of Dimension X as a permanent prisoner. Their advisor, Mariel, has assured me the defendant will serve a lifetime sentence that is both morally just and compassionate, rendered by the very Utrom people he once saved. So basically, he gets a life sentence on Earth.
Yep.
Essentially, is what it is. And this is where Leatherhead basically, where's my compassion? Where's my justice? And Leatherhead basically eats Krang.
Knocks everybody out of the way, and bites and eats him, his handcuffs and everything.
Mm-hmm. Where's my justice?
Gulp.
And he jumps into a portal, and the Utroms basically stop. We appreciate your concern, but the general is dead. Yes, he's dead, and it is for the best. Imprisonment would have been a worse curse for General Krang. Are you sure? 100%. Yeah, the general could have would have wanted it this way. We'll inform Advisor Mariel to the others about what had happened, but they're not going to do that. Of course not. So the Turtles and the Neutrinos all say their goodbyes. We have the witnesses, all saying their goodbyes as well. nice little moments here and there with this. Absolutely love that. What I love about this ending when the turtles go through the portal, there's a note from Bobby. The turtles' interdimensional misadventures will continue in TMNT Ghostbusters 2. We get to a nice little epilogue between the Triceratons and the Neutrinos, and basically the king says simply that Earth is their home.
You can go back to Earth since that's where you're from. That's your planet now.
Yep.
By what authority did he do that?
Exactly.
Well, he's not wrong, but still. There is an interesting little Easter egg that I noticed back here. When the two Utroms return to Earth, and they decide not to tell... Not to tell Mariel,
or whatever.
They're going to find the lizard and find a way to revive Colonel Chirel. Has Chirel showed up?
I don't remember.
I vaguely remember maybe he was mentioned, but Chirel was in the 4Kids Ninja Turtles, and he was Utrom Shredder. He ends up being a real bad dude.
That's cool. So that's how they're going to get Shredder back.
Uh-huh.
Very awesome. I figured that was going to work. Yeah, that was interesting. Wow, I just now made that. Oh God, I wish.
So they bring every iteration of the Turtles into this book, and they do it so artfully because that's big. It's an overpopulated universe, but in 75 issues, they've tied it all together in a beautiful, beautiful little package.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Wow, I completely I saw the name and I'm like, okay, sure, revive that Utrom, and I'm like, when I first read this, I'm like, what the hell? And then I'm like, oh God, that. Wow, right.
So we could get the Shredder back. And that'd be, I mean, with the Pantheon and how they function, and with, oh my gosh, Evil Fox Lady.
It's
such a large universe.
No, I know.
Not Kitsune, that's the fox.
Yeah,
Gosh.
Yeah, Kitsune.
It's Kitsune?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because she does mutate.
Yeah, it's Kitsune.
So with Kitsune involved, and I think we can kind of assume that the Shredder is maybe contained in the essence of Shredder is contained in some weird spiritual thing that she could even bind the two of them together. We may end up with a real Krang Shredder dynamic again, with an Utrom and Shredder dynamic again. So they might find some interesting artful way to combine those two. It'll be exciting to see how they do it. I have no idea what it's going to look like.
No clue. So we get to Earth. Sir, you've got to see this video feed from the far side of the moon streaming in from Lunar Station B. What is it? I'm not completely sure, but if I had to guess, I'd say we're about to be invaded, Agent Bishop, and to be continued. Yep. Overall, I dug this. Now that I'm going back and looking at it again, I liked the story when I first read it. I love the art. As we already said, the art in 73 and 74 are great. Multiple artists in 75 really work. But it's super cool. It really is super cool, and I'm glad we're reading Turtles again. I'm glad we're covering it again after a year.
Yes. I did not enjoy it nearly as much while I was reading it. I enjoyed it much more reviewing it during this podcast. I enjoy it the third time through. I don't even remember what I thought about it the first time. It's been so long, but this was reviewing it and talking about it was much more fun than reading it earlier today.
Yeah.
So yes, it's good. It's actually good.
Mm-hmm. It's so very good. It's going to be interesting to see, like we were saying about how Chirel is going to get revived and all that, about how we can get Shredder back. How are they going to do another The only way they could find a way to get another Krang in here is if they go to a different dimension, like different timeline, different, because the alligator ate the thing.
Yeah, and I don't see this book doing that. I don't see them doing what they've done with the cartoon, where they're combining turtle verses. I mean, maybe as a side story somewhere, but it wouldn't be canon. They're going to kind of play in their own sandbox, I think. And I don't think we'll get Krang back. I think that is the end of Krang, but we're gonna have bad guy Utroms again. They're just gonna lift from instead of the old cartoon with him, they're gonna pull from the 4Kids cartoon. 2003, right? Was that what that was?
Yep. Absolutely. 2003. The Trial of Krang arc, I'm just gonna rate it as one whole thing, all 3 issues. 3.5 out of 5. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was interesting and great. I think it would have been more enjoyable if it was in, and it'll eventually be in this if it's not already, if we had read it in the Ultimate collection, like the story order collection, where Dimension X and this are mixed in the story order that they're supposed to be. Because like I said, 73 is before Dimension X #1, and then I think 74 and 75 are after that series. In between. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, 3.5 out of 5 for me. What about you?
That sounds good. That sounds good. I was about to give it a 4 because at this rate, the book is consistently good, and it's absolutely a must read for anybody who even thinks they like Ninja Turtles. But I saved those 5s now for the big issues, the ones where, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that thing, and so. You know, between that and my first impression rereading it today, I think a 3.5 is a pretty good rating for this. It's definitely solid, and a great continuing on of this great turtle venture.
Absolutely. All right, you guys just had a Geek Stuff Garage sale, didn't you?
No, we wanted to this summer. We tried to do one beginning of this summer because that's when I usually like to have them. But my brain was shot at the end of the year. The school year went long, so we're actually doing one. Oh my gosh! I think now September 29th. We have a new venue north of the place that we were at before, at a great store in town called Comic Signal, owned by great people who said you can have our entire parking lot behind the place. So this year we have not the usual 23 vendors, but instead closer to 50. Is our plan. Wow. So we're huge now, and despite how huge we are still free, and will always be free, both to the vendors and to the people who want to come and buy stuff. So yes, make deals, come and shop and do crazy stuff. It's a great day, mostly of just all of us vendors hanging out trying to sell things to each other, because none of us walk out of there with money.
That's funny. Alright, you can find Geek Stuff Garage Sale over on Facebook. I am at TFG and Mike on Twitter. You can follow at The Pullbag on Twitter, at Geekcast Radio for all the other network updates. We've got 2 more episodes coming up here in September. Next time around, Ryan, the Uneven Flow Merkley, is going to be back, and we're going to talk about 5 different #1s by Brian Michael Bendis that include Brilliant, Powers, Scarlet, The United States of Murder, Inc., and Tachio.
That sounds fun. I need to listen to that.
Yes, so we're going to do that next week. And then closing out September is going to be episode 327, where someone, and I don't know who, because I haven't locked down a co-host for it yet, seeing as how this year, this December, Batwoman is entering the CW universe, we're going to be covering Batwoman Volume 1 from the New 52. So
is that an older book nowadays? I don't even know.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it is. It's the New 52 version. It's a couple of years ago now. A few years ago.
I saw that poster for that and thought, oh my gosh, Nightwing? But no, it's Batwoman, which is probably going to be cool. I'm cool with that. I'll tolerate. Not tolerate, that's a horrible thing to say. It's going to be awesome, because all those shows are good.
Yeah, Nightwing's over on the Fuck Batman show. Have you seen the trailer to Titans?
No.
You haven't seen the... I'll show it. Oh, God. I'll show it.
Is this the live action show?
Yes. The one that's going to be on the DC Universe app. Oh, God.
Which means I won't see it, because I'm done buying new subscriptions to services.
Yeah. Make your great escape into comics, folks, and we will catch you next time here inside the Pull Bag.
Those kids must be around here somewhere.
Krang!
They couldn't have just vanished. Oh, sorry, Lord. Lord Krang!
Don't look at me!
My Lord, what has happened to your body?
It's a long story. I lost it when they banished me to this miserable mud bowl.
Those three youths just blasted their way right out of my technodrome.
The neutrinos have eluded us! Neutrinos? Running loose here on Earth? Saki, you imbecile!
What did I do? Who are these neutrinos?
A gang of juvenile delinquents from Dimension X. They're a threat to everything we stand for.
They hate war.
They refuse to join any army. And what's worse, they encourage people to have fun.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.